Hello, how are you today? This is going to begin the discussion of adjectives in English usage 3013. So we're going to talk about adjectives. They're not nearly as convoluted and involved as pronouns were, so we have a little saving grace here, okay? I must warn you though that grades on noun and pronoun exams are pretty gosh darn good in comparison to the adjective one. And I've never figured that out, but that's always been the case for every semester that I've taught English usage, and it's been a lot of semesters, okay? I've never quite figured that out. When you look for adjectives, you have to be able to find your nouns and your pronouns. And you've just gone over weeks of dealing with nouns and with pronouns, working with noun and pronoun worksheets, finding them, indicating number, person, gender, case. And yet when people try to find adjectives, they're all over the map, okay? So make sure that when you deal with adjectives, you take it slow and easy, you find your nouns, and you ask what or which of your nouns. The answer to which or what will be your adjective. I like 4 lipsticks. Find your noun, lipsticks, and say which lipsticks. 4, that's your adjective. Okay, that's your adjective. The sky is blue today. Blue is your adjective modifying sky. Find your noun, sky, and ask which of it. Which sky? The blue sky, the gray sky, the black sky, the cloudy sky, the blue sky. So that's the adjective modifying sky, the subject of that sentence. Okay? Got me? Cooking? Okay. The definition of an adjective is this. Oh, my chair is squeaky. The definition of an adjective is the part of speech that modifies nouns and pronouns. The part of speech that modifies or describes nouns and pronouns. Okay? Okay. Make sure that you get adjectives in the right place. If you don't have an adjective in the right place, you have created a misplaced modifier. Like, I want a hot cup of coffee. I want a hot cup of coffee. Hot modifies what noun in that sense? Cup. Do I want a hot cup? Or do I want hot coffee? See the diff? That sentence should be, I want a cup of hot coffee. I want a hot cup of coffee is a misplaced modifier. We got a modifier, we got an adjective, but baby, it's in the wrong place. It's modifying the wrong noun. So I got to move it. I want a cup of hot coffee. Okay? So that adjective has to be placed in the right place in the sentence for it to make sense. Okay? That kind of stands to reason, right? Yeah. Okay. There are 3 forms of adjectives, and I'm referring here to the notes that I have printed off for you. Okay? There are 3 forms of adjectives, like there are 3 forms of noun, 3 forms of pronoun. Yeah, you know this by heart already, don't you? You should. The first form is the simple adjective. 1 word, usually 1 syllable, like hot, warm, cold, blue, little. The little puppy is mine. This is my blue dress. The stadium was circular. Circular modifies stadium. It's a small desk. She has green eyes. I have gray hair. So those are your simple adjectives. One word, usually one syllable, but not always. Like little, ugly, hurtful. The hurtful words came from her mouth. The second form is the compound adjective. Two words jammed together to make a brand new word. Okay? Like the words handsome. The handsome man gave me flowers. Handsome is a compound adjective. Commonplace. The commonplace kitchen utensil is a fork. Commonplace. Compound. Modifying utensil. And then you've got the phrasal adjective. Two or more separate words functioning as one adjective. A compound adjective can also be hyphenated, like cut hyphen and hyphen dried decision. The cut and dried decision came quickly. What's another one? It can also be a prepositional phrase. Look at my examples here. The cat in the hat. Which cat? Find your nouns and ask which, and your answer is going to be an adjective. The cat in the hat likes Cheetos. You can have an independent clause as a phrasal adjective. The man who drives the hearse is eccentric. Who drives the hearse? A dependent clause, modifying man. It's a relative dependent clause. It starts with which is a relative pronoun. It introduces a clause and renames something that's gone before. You got to remember everything you ever knew about nouns and pronouns to tackle adjectives, baby. You can't let anything slide out of your brain. Just ain't gonna work. You got to know it all. Then you can have an infinitive phrase. And we haven't gone over verbs. Verbs are difficult. We're going to do them next after adjectives. Okay? A verb that has not been inflected is an infinitive. An infinitive is to plus a verb. To eat, to sleep, to steal, to write, to drive, to record, to play, to walk, to challenge, to cook. Those are all infinitives. And there can be infinitive phrases that function as adjectives, like my example here under forms. The plan to escape prison worked. To escape prison is an infinitive phrase. It consists of the infinitive to escape plus its object. There's another use of the objective case, nouns and pronouns. Objects of infinitives. Grammar is everywhere. Okay. To escape prison tells us which plan. The plan to rob the bank? The plan to hire a new president? No, the plan was to escape prison. Adjectives are everywhere. Okay, they truly are. Before we go any further, we need to talk about the articles, a, and, the. I'm not going to ask you to deal with articles on a work page or on an exam. If you can't find a, and the and figure out that they're adjectives, you shouldn't be here, people. I'm sorry. You need to go back to second grade, okay? You know what a and the are. A and refer to generic things. I drive a car. I like to eat an apple for lunch. Okay? An precedes nouns that begin with a vowel sound, like an onion, an eagle, an ottoman, an adolescent. The identifies a specific, modifies a specific object. I dated the man. Yeah. I like the dress. I don't like a dress. I like the dress. Okay, that's mine, baby. That's my fave. So we're pointing it out specifically. Okay? Now let's talk about the inflection of an adjective. The inflection of an adjective is called comparison. The inflection of a noun and a pronoun is declension. The inflection of an adjective is comparison. There are 3 levels of the inflection of the comparison of an adjective. Simple, or base, or positive. I've got it listed right here on the first page of the printed off notes I gave you. It's the adjective all by itself. Ugly, pretty, beautiful, sturdy. Then you have the second level of comparison, and the second level of comparison is the comparative level, where you compare 2 things. This desk is sturdier than that desk. Her dog is uglier than my dog. We're comparing 2 things, the 2 desks or the 2 dogs. Okay? I cannot say, my dog is uglier than what? If you use that ER ending, that makes things a comparative level inflection. You've got to have a second object of comparison. It's comparison. You've got to have 2 things to compare. My left punch is faster than my right punch. I just can't say my left punch is faster than a speeding bullet, than a tortoise. What's it faster than? Both terms of comparison have to be there. You create the comparative level of an adjective by using the suffix er, or the word more, or the word less. She is less beautiful than I am. He is kinder than my brother is. You have to have ER in there. She is more attractive than I. You have to have the more or the less. He is less wealthy than I am. ER, more, and less, as it states right here, are the ways to make the comparative. The third level of comparison is the superlative level. Here you compare 3 or more things. Okay? You do that by adding the suffix est, or you use most or least. I am the least athletic person here. I'm assuming that there are at least 3 people here, because the est, the least, the most, the superlative level, you compare 3 or more. Okay? Here's my example here. I have the reddest cheeks of anybody in my sorority. Not all adjectives lend themselves to the est or the er suffixes. I cannot say, she is beautifuler than I am. I cannot say, he is, or this hallway is the narrowest of all in the building. Narrowest, I just don't think sounds good. Okay? Beautifuler, beautifulest, ain't no word. I am Americaner than you are. No. Okay, you can't say Americaner or Americanest, for heaven's sake. That's silly. Okay? So you got to make sure that the word makes sense when you go to inflect an adjective. Okay? Okay. Let's take a break at this point in time and come back and finish adjectives. So we have done basically the first page of the typewritten notes here that I've given you way back in August. My gosh. So we'll come back in a few and we'll tackle the rest of adjectives. Thanks a whole bunch for your paying attention. If you got questions, what you gonna do? You know the answer to that.